And as this is a girl powered event, it's very important for us to understand what girl power truly means. So, girl powered means supporting your teammates to try new things and reach outside of their comfort zone. Being girl powered means finding girls who you don't see in robotics, getting them to try it out, and showing them that they belong.
It's also about encouraging teammates, both girls and boys, to actively embrace a more diverse culture. We want to encourage not only girls, but all newbies to try new things and be a part of changing the definition of what a STEM expert looks like.
And this year marks Brampton Robotics' fifth year hosting the Girl Powered event. And Brampton Robotics is a nonprofit community organization that organizes and mentors student teams to compete in robotics competitions. Our objective is to create awareness about STEM education in our community. We create opportunities for students by hosting robotics competitions. We also participate in community events to provide hands-on learning activities for youth in our community. As we promote STEM to students of all ages, this includes you. So hopefully by the end of today's video or today's presentation, you can get involved in Brampton Robotics as well.
For the past few years, numerous teams a part of Brampton Robotics have competed in international competitions. However, we've noticed that even now, in 2020, there's a lack of female participation in our teams.
Therefore, we started to organize events like these, now supporting all-girls Sex IQ teams and VRC teams that consist of females who are passionate and determined to prove stereotypes wrong. We hope to bring change in our society and help females engage in STEM activities and break these gender barriers that are currently present. And we want you to be a part of this change.
Now, we have an awesome event planned for you with some wonderful guest speakers. Videos to help you inspire your journey in STEM, and at-home activities which you can take beyond the hour that we have today.
And starting off with our wonderful speaker, please welcome Sarah Qureshi. Sarah is the Chief Information Security Officer and a skilled forensic investigator with a demonstrated history of leading high-profile security initiatives in the public and private sector. You will get to hear about her experience in technology. Thank you for joining us, Sarah.
No problem. Thank you very much. Good morning to everybody. Very excited to be here. That was a great introduction into what STEM is and why it's important for girls to join. So I'll pretty much build on that fact that every single time I mentor a group of girls and a group of young people, youth, girls and boys alike, they ask the question, what is it like to be in technology? What is it like to be in security? So I can tell you it's challenging. It's not easy, but nothing of worth anything, nothing worth a high value comes easy. So my recommendation would be, and I say this to just about any person, any age, if you want to know something is good for you and you're going to enjoy it and you're going to have a good career in it or develop a business around it, try it. All you have to do is just try it. So if you are scared of mathematics, like I was in grade 7, 8, 9, I was so scared of mathematics by grade 10 that I failed my final exam. And you'll be happy to know, after that one failure, I have won many awards in mathematics. I've done cryptography mathematics, which is not easy. I've done a lot of algorithms, and I've even extended one of the operating systems core code. So if I had carried my fear of technology and math, I wasn't scared of technology, but I was scared of math. If I had carried that fear with me, I wouldn't be where I am today. In fact, now that I look back, math was easiest on me. It was the easiest thing because it was very natural for me to understand. That's why I became a good programmer. That's why I did what I did in security. It all had to be with what people say to you. Somebody said to me, hey, you're a girl, you're probably not that good at math. And I'm like, yeah, that's probably a good idea that I'm not good at math because I'm a girl. Turns out it's quite the opposite. It has no bearing on who you are and what your gender is. Your passion comes from trying to do something and getting good at it. So if you enjoy it, you'll do more of it. If it's basketball, you play every day until you're one of the best players in school. If you're good in hockey, you'll play without somebody asking you to. So if you are going to be good in maths, technology, engineering, any one of those things, try it. Robotics is the easiest thing to get into. And last year, I had the pleasure of being a judge for one of the Vex IQ competitions. And the all-girls team, I was blown away at the passion and the fun they were having. They were just having the best time working on technology. The programmers are often considered to be a little bit introverted. They don't like to talk to people too much. They like to be left alone, use their own head and get things done and solve problems. Now, the best part of this is You are around other people who also don't want to draw too much attention, but they just want to focus and get things done. They just want to put their head down, take a problem, and solve it. So if you like solving puzzles, if you like taking extra time to get to the root of a problem, these all of STEM, all of it is for you, but you just have to go in and try. You have to either buy one of the kits, robotic kits, or take an online free course in programming, or look at other people who are already doing it. Look at somebody who's 2 years older than you, just 2, 3 years ahead of you, somebody who's already in a robotics team, plays in competitions, or even if they don't compete, if they just do it for the fun of learning and building something, and they don't want to be competing because what they want to build is something of their own, that would be the best way to do it. But if you want to join, have a circle of friends, people you can talk to, people who are like you, people who also enjoy technology, then it's a great way to start the journey. Now, I was told that some of the people who have joined might have questions. So I'll take a second to see if there are any questions that you guys want me to answer.
Yeah, so we have a few questions here, but I just want to quickly touch upon one of the points that you made about having seeing people that are a few years older than you, and I definitely agree. I think this is why having girl role models or female role models in these specific STEM fields is so important. But we have a question here. So, how can a girl pursue a career in information security?
Right. So how can a person pursue a career in information security is you just learn about computers first. You see how they work, or you pick up programming and you see if you like programming, or you pick up something like networking. So there's 5, 6 different venues you can take. You can actually pick up online tutorials. Google just published a very comprehensive 14 hours course in cybersecurity. I would not advise anybody under the age of 12 to take all those hours, but there's nothing stopping you from going online and saying information security for beginners. And what they do is they give you different ideas that you can be a forensic investigator, you can be something called a pen tester, security assessment auditor, you can be a security analyst, you can be in incident response, which is quite exciting. So what you can do is you can look at these different terminologies, or after this event, what you can do is I will leave my information with the group at Brampton Robotics. You can send me specific questions and I can send you some links that are beyond Google. Just to if you just Google that, hey, how do I become an information security practitioner, or how do I run my own cybersecurity firm? There's lots of other stepping stones you can look at, and I can share those with you after the event.
That's amazing. So thank you for that. We have one last question, which is, how do you see information security evolving in the next 10 years?
Right. So because of COVID-19, what's happened is everybody has had to work from home. My personal focus right now is helping very prominent people in the community, in the political world, in business world, secure their home networks, secure their devices when they're not in the corporate environment. You are going to see a lot more attacks, global attacks on home networks, because now people have their work at home. Work sensitive information could be sitting on a hard drive at home, could be on a computer that's connected to your home network, and it does not have the same security as the corporate network. Sometimes humans make mistakes. They don't put all the security controls they're supposed to put in place. Devices get lost, networks get infiltrated, a lot goes on. So now what's happened is we're going to see a new type of attack, which is not going to be targeted towards organizations' networks. We're just going to see home networks get attacked. We saw a really interesting attack recently, and I encourage everybody that's installing cameras on their premises at home and whatnot to not connect it to an open feed live stream on the internet without credentials. Because right now people are connecting devices without any security to the internet to make the world more connected while people are isolated. So we're seeing different types of attacks. So now we've got to prep differently. That's the evolution I see. I see the nature of attacks changing and the nature of security in the home network changing very soon.
That's really good information to hear. I know I definitely wasn't aware about that. So that's amazing. But thank you for sharing your experiences and insight with us. I know your journey definitely inspired me, and I hope this inspired the audience as well. But thank you for continuously supporting Brampton Robotics and Girl Powered Sarah. We really appreciate it.
No worries. Thank you so much, guys. Take care. Have a great event. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Next, we have Meghna Saxena, who recently graduated from the University of Guelph as a mechanical engineer, and we are excited to hear about her STEM journey. Thanks for joining us.
Morning, everyone. I hope everyone's enjoying their long weekend and having a great weekend. As mentioned, my name is Meghna, and I recently graduated in January from University of Guelph. I did my major in mechanical engineering, which has led me to where I am today. Now, when you guys hear the word engineer, a lot of you may picture a nerdy guy with glasses just coding away, or even like a guy fixing a car. When I was in high school, that's the exact same perception I had. When I was in grade 11, I remember that's when I was deciding what to do, and I had absolutely no idea what I wanted to do. When people would bring up the word engineering, I'd just shake away the thought, thinking only guys did engineering. Then one day, I was talking to my family friend, and she was telling me how she recently graduated from mechanical engineering, which kind of caught me off guard because I didn't see a lot of girls doing engineering, especially mechanical, which was a bit new to me. From that day, I looked more into it and did my research and realized maybe this is what I wanted to do. Like, I'm good at math, I'm good at physics, so then why not do something where I could put those to use? And I remember after that is when I went into engineering. And even after starting my first year at university, I still wasn't too sure if engineering is what I wanted to do. But then I realized it was actually very fun. I started working on all these projects and, designing things like a robotic wheelchair, which I remember was my first year project, and a CNC machine, and all these cool things, which is when I realized that I was actually having a lot of fun building these. And I could kind of make these things the way I wanted to. And I think that's when I realized that engineering wasn't just about being good at math or physics. I actually liked to innovate and to create whatever I wanted. I'll be honest, during my university, there were a lot of other girls in my class, but I could only count them on my hand. That's how many girls there were. There wouldn't be a lot. There would be maybe 10 out of 300 or something like that. And a lot of times, even in my group projects, I would be the only girl. And a lot of guys would ignore me or what I had to say. But every time that happened, I would remind myself to keep going and that I can actually get through this. And I was actually having fun doing what I wanted. So why should I let a guy or someone's perception stop me from what I want to do? But you know what? The proudest day for me that was when I finally completed my mechanical engineering degree. And the fact that I was able to do what a lot of people thought I couldn't being a girl, that was one of my biggest accomplishments. There's actually no better feeling to actually do something that's really hard and do something that a lot of people think girls can't do. There's honestly no better feeling. And once I graduated and got the engineering job I wanted, I actually like going into work every day. And the reality is, when you go into a workforce with engineers, most likely you'll be able to count how many females are in the room on one hand. Like, I look around and they're all males. But this is this type of stereotype we need to change. That girls can't just treat a human body, but actually make the prosthetic devices that help treat it. Or that girls can actually construct the robots we see on TV and design the cars that we drive every day. Thank you.
Thank you, Meghna, for sharing your story as a female in STEM. I love how you took your skills from your university to your real career. Thank you for inspiring us all to create change and never being afraid to pursue a career of your choice. We have a few questions for you that we hope you can answer.
No problem.
First off, how do you feel about working in a male-dominated field?
Honestly, it's not too bad. I like the job that I'm doing, so it doesn't bother me too much. There are very few girls in my company, but it honestly doesn't matter me. That doesn't bother me as long as I'm having fun in what I do.
That's nice. Okay, second question. Who inspired you to pursue a career in mechanical engineering?
Honestly, I think it was a few years of building up to actually do mechanical engineering. It was a lot of things that influenced it. I saw a few of my friends going into mechanical engineering and they were very successful. A lot of the projects that I did in physics, for example, those led me to pursuing mechanical engineering, as well as just a lot of research.
Okay, thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Meghna. I know we were all inspired as well, and it's great to see a young female who just graduated, especially like I know a lot of students in like robotics as well want to pursue careers in mechanical engineering or mechatronics. So it's great to hear about your story. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you to our wonderful speakers. I know I definitely feel inspired. Our goal throughout hosting this event is to create awareness about STEM to younger females so you can get the opportunity to try out STEM activities such as robotics.
And now, while women constitute almost 50% of the labor market, there are only 28% of women in STEM fields, opposed to 72% of men. And this lack of representation and equality really hinders our society because we all understand that STEM is the future and STEM education is very important. So not having females represented or having these gender barriers that are present for females is extremely discouraging. And we all know that women, just like men, are capable of doing anything. And we understand that like STEM education is the future and it can provide all these skill sets that we need for our career opportunities. So therefore, it's extremely important for you to be introduced to it right now.
Here we have some girl power videos in hopes that you will be inspired to pursue a STEM field and join our robotics whole brand, hopefully.
A young female who just graduated,
Hi everyone. Wow, there's a lot of people here. This is a little scary. I'm so honored tonight to be given this award. For many years, I didn't feel like I was good enough to do engineering, and to be up here now in the STEM Hall of Fame is really a dream come true. I'll quickly tell my story of how I started Goldie Blocks. I remember the first time I heard the word engineering, it was when I was a senior in high school. And my math teacher pulled me aside one day to ask me what I wanted to major in college because she was writing my recommendation letter. And I said I didn't know. So she said, "What about engineering?" And I thought to myself, why does this woman think I would want to be a train driver? Engineering? I didn't know what it was. But luckily, that one teacher changed my life. I ended up getting into Stanford. I was one of the first kids from my high school to go there. And everyone was so excited, they announced it on the loudspeaker, and everybody clapped. And when I got to Stanford, I knew it was the opportunity of a lifetime, so I signed up for Mechanical Engineering 101. And in that class, we weren't fixing train engines, but we were building really cool machines, just like the stuff that all of you were making today. And from that moment on, my eyes just lit up because I learned that engineering is all about inventing stuff and building your dreams. And who wouldn't want to do that? That's the most empowering career you could ever have. And so from that moment on, I decided to major in engineering. But it was tough because I was one of very few women in my classes. And a lot of times I'd be the only girl in all guy groups. And a lot of times the guys would ignore my ideas. And a lot of times I didn't feel good enough. I remember I almost dropped out of engineering one day in a class that was really hard for me. I put my assignment up on the wall, and the teacher asked the whole room of 80 students with only a few girls, raise your hand if you think Debbie should pass this class. It was one of the most humiliating moments of my life, but luckily, one of the boys in my class stood up for me, and he said, "Don't humiliate her, how dare you? Your job is to teach her and motivate her." And so even though I ran out of the room crying, I didn't give up, and I decided to stick with engineering. And it's the best choice I ever made, because the day that I graduated was the proudest day of my life. Because I did something hard. And when you do something hard and you achieve it, and yeah, you're not going to get it right the first or second or 12th time, but when you get it right, you know you can do anything. And so after I graduated, I decided I wanted to take my engineering degree and I wanted to invent something that could change the world. And the thing that really bothered me was how few girls there were in my classes. And one day I was talking with my friend and I asked her how she got interested in engineering. And she said, well, I grew up playing with all my older brother's construction toys. And that always made me love tinkering and building. And we both just stood there and kind of wondered, why is it that girls grow up with dolls and princesses and ponies, and oftentimes boys are the ones that get all the construction toys and superheroes and you know, everything in the blue aisle that's, you know, all the smarter stuff. And so I came up with an idea to start a toy company called Goldie Blocks to really invent the toys that I wish I'd had growing up as a little girl. And so I made my first prototype. I took it to the New York Toy Fair and I showed all the old toy industry guys. And they all looked at me like I was crazy. They said, girls don't like building. Girls like dolls. Boys are the ones that like building. And I walked out of that toy fair so dejected. I knew they didn't get it. And so I decided to put my invention up on Kickstarter. I had a goal of raising $100,000 to go into production. Well, the rest of the world, unlike the toy industry, knew that girls like building because, right? Because that Kickstarter video went viral, and before I knew it, I'd sold $1 million of Goldie Blocks before I'd even made a single toy. And so tonight, I'm just so blown away by what I've seen from all of you. You're so far ahead of where I was when I first started at Stanford. And I'm so excited to see so many girls here today. And I hope that all of you, girls and boys, encourage more girls to come into this community. I'm also so excited to announce tonight that Goldie Blocks will be working with Vex Robotics and the REC Foundation. I'm so thrilled by their commitment to getting girls involved in robotics. And it's obviously something that Goldie Blocks and I really care about. And so we're ready to work with these organizations to achieve our common goal, because no girl should be left out of the STEM community. Let's show the world together that robotics is for everyone.
I think my biggest advice to girls who want to get into science and engineering is find other girls who want to do the same thing. But I have found throughout my life that all of the best accomplishments start with a little bit of discomfort, start with a little bit of fear that maybe you're not good enough or maybe this isn't for you, because those are going to be the situations that challenge you. Embrace the uncertainty, embrace the unknown, embrace those fears, because that is the only time that you can be brave. That's the only time that you can kind of build your skill sets and build your knowledge. I am Emily Calandrelli. When I was their age, I just assumed that I was always going to be a mediocre student. I didn't realize that if you are willing to put in the work, that you can make yourself smarter, that you can rise in the ranks. I like to tell people that in order to bridge the gap between what scientists know and what the public believes when it comes to science, is that we have to be empathetic, we have to be kind, because a lot of people who deny certain scientific truths, like, say, climate change or the safety of vaccinations, it's more than just they're stupid, right? We can't just discount these people that they're stupid. Then we'll never be able to bridge that gap. We have to understand why these people deny the science. We have to understand the reasons that led to that. And to be able to educate them, you first have to listen. You first have to really empathize with them. So this was the biggest girl-powered event, I've been told, and the audience here was just mind-blowingly amazing. You know, sometimes you don't know what to expect. Some people are really shy. They don't want to ask questions. They're maybe a little bit embarrassed or self-conscious. Not this group. They couldn't stop asking questions, and really good questions too. Things like this are so important because they are going to carry these friendships for the rest of their lives. This is going to be a very intense, awesome, exciting, memorable experience for them. I love being a science communicator in general. I'm combining this like storytelling, creative part of me with this hard science part of me. And I didn't know that that was even possible growing up. I thought you either had to be creative or you had to be in science, you know, left brain versus right brain. But I've learned that through careers like mine, I can combine those two skill sets and create an entirely new career where I get to share my passion with others every day.
Biggest rewarding factor of it is that you see that moment where they realize that the science behind what they're doing in the real world actually has an effect, because I had that moment myself, so I want to make sure to give back to everyone else. My name is Vivian Chu. I am the CTO and co-founder of Diligent Robotics. We make hospital service robots. I found out about Girl Power through my advisor, actually, my PhD advisor. She was like, oh, you're doing an event in Texas. Well, Vivian's already in Texas and she can go and volunteer. But for me, I've always been really thinking about mentorship and role models, because you always need someone to help you say, look, this is the things that you're dealing with. I dealt with this 5 years ago. Here are the things that happen. And so when I got to college, I was like, oh my gosh, I've gotten to this world where everyone feels smarter than me. I'm struggling. And really, then I had one professor, and he really essentially pushed me to continue, gave me the confidence to say, go do something, just work hard at it, you're gonna get through it. And I use my story often is that having those role models are critical. And so even at my stage, right, there's other women at this event who are like professors, tenured professors, just seeing these people at the places they're at is motivational and showing that it's never like, oh, that's too hard for me, I'm not smart enough. It's like, no, let's sit down and actually build this out. Any of that advice or even that connection to even talk about the things they're experiencing is crucial regardless of what age you're at.
Now, those were some great videos. I know I loved hearing Debbie Sterling's story about how she started Goldie Blocks, and then all those videos from the Girl Powered events. And hopefully in the future, once the pandemic is over, we're able to come together and have these in-person events as well.
We as girls are not introduced to STEM at a young age, as boys are. Society sometimes even thinks we are not as smart or capable just because we're girls. And now, women in STEM have achieved so many important things in history and are powerful figures that needed to change the world. Let's hear from Trinity, a member of the 1140E VexIQ team, on what contributions by women have done for society.
Inspirational women include Katherine Johnson, NASA's space scientist who was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 2015 for a lifetime work as a pioneering physicist, mathematician, and space scientist. She and her colleagues Dorothy Vaughan and Mary Jackson did the calculations that guided NASA's 1962 Friendship 7 mission. Mae Jemison, born 1956, Jemison is the first African-American woman to travel to space. She spent her childhood in libraries reading everything she could about astronomy. And a recent example is Ginny Rometty, who is the CEO of IBM, a billion-dollar multinational technology company. An early computer science graduate in the 70s, Rometty joined IBM as a systems engineer. When she became SVP of Marketing and Strategy in 2009, she led IBM into cloud computing, analytics, and commercialization of IBM Watson. She has been IBM CEO since 2012. These are all amazing accomplishments achieved by who? Women. Now we hope that these events will help us deliver the right message and encourage young girls to STEAM, careers, and opportunities. Our journey is challenging but not at all impossible.
Thanks for sharing those examples with us, Trinity. Bernabe, can you tell us a bit more about what we have planned next?
Next, we're going to talk about VexIQ programming. It is a very interesting and educational job for a member of your team. It teaches you how to calculate values of distance and the amount of power needed to travel in order to score points. Here we have a VexIQ video on color sensors.
Welcome to our VexIQ sensors video, focusing on the color sensor. The color sensor can measure simple colors, color hues, independent red, green, and blue in 256 levels each, and ambient light levels. The color sensor is one of 5 VexIQ sensors that has out-of-the-box default functionality. First, be sure firmware for the controller, smart sensors, and robot brain are updated. The brain firmware must be version 1.05 or higher. For initial testing of any VexIQ sensor, we recommend using a simple starter robot, such as the robot base with the autopilot sensor mount as seen here. For assembly instructions and for details on updating firmware, please consult your kit documentation or the VexIQ website. Now for the color sensor default functionality exercise. Begin by taking your color sensor, a few 1x1 connector pins, and attach the sensor firmly to the sensor mount. Then use a smart cable to connect the color sensor to any unused port in the brain. The brain will automatically recognize the sensor. You will also need a red object and a green object like these. Next, wake up your controller and your robot brain. Then choose the driver control program and run it. You will immediately be able to drive the robot. Have someone else show the color sensor a red object and the robot becomes disabled. Show the color sensor green and it's re-enabled. Repeat this process as you wish, red for stop and green for go. This is just the beginning. Imagine what else can be done with this sensor using programming software. That's all for the color sensor, but be sure to join us next time for more.
Wow, those videos were really cool, and I think that's amazing. So, Brenby, I heard you code on your VexIQ team. So, can you tell us a bit about what's your favorite part of coding?
Well, Mehak, my favorite part of coding is the problems that we face and how might we solve them using different strategies, as well as how we can overcome any obstacles on the field using the coding that we've done.
So I hope if anyone in our audience is intrigued by that video or interested in building robots, so definitely reach out to Brampton Robotics. We'll also link a bunch of resources at the end of this event where you can go and explore your creativity and all these questions that you may have. So up next, we have a few STEM at-home activities because, of course, we are not able to be together in person. And you can check these out on bramptonrobotics.org/STEM activities. But these are some awesome activities that you can do at home on your own time with your siblings, with your friends, obviously socially distancing. But here, if you're able to see my screen right now, you can see that once you visit Brampton Robotics webpage, we have 3 activities linked right here: Tinker at Home, Virtual Dissection, and Tinkercad. So I know personally my favorite are these like Tinker at Home activities, which there are so many available. Interesting. Barnaby, do you have a favorite STEM activity?
Well, my favorite STEM activity is Tinkercad because you can use it to build whatever you want and whatever your heart desires. It is a great tool, especially to get started in STEM. We hope that you will have a fun and valuable time at our Girl Powered event today. It is essential
Oh, it looks like I froze there. But Barnaby, should we just go over these activities that we have available on the Brampton Robotics website with everyone?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So I can go back and share my screen. My apologies for that. But we have, like I was saying, not exactly sure where I got cut off, but like I was saying, there's a lot of these activities that are available on these like different websites that we've linked on bramptonrobotics.org/STEM activities. And I know my personal favorite is the Tinker at Home activities. So these are home STEM activities, which should be visible right now to you. But basically, there are a bunch of different subjects and different parts of STEM and STEAM that you can explore. So I know for myself, I've been looking through these environmental science activities, and I personally really am looking into how like I can help with like the current climate crisis going on. And there are a bunch of at-home activities that I can do here to help me to learn like the science behind the carbon emissions that are going into space or like into our planet, how we can help create like positive change in our world. So if you're interested about any topic at all, this website right here sort of shows like science behind it and experiments you can do. So for example, there's also astronomy and space sciences. So this right here, there's like different videos that are available. So it's very interesting. So if you definitely have time at home or you're interested or want to learn more, feel free to check out these activities. Brandy, do you have a favorite STEM activity from here?
I don't know about you, but my favorite STEM activity that is not from Exploratorium is Tinkercad, since you can use it to build whatever your heart desires. But from this list, I would probably have to choose the solar eclipse, just because it teaches you the science behind it and everything.
Yeah, that's definitely really cool. For those of you who may not know what Tinkercad is, it's basically like not as advanced as like a lot of these CAD softwares that are available, but it helps you build like 3D models of what you possibly want to make in the future. So for example, you can make these like dinosaurs. There's also like you can make electrical boards, mazes on Tinkercad. You can build a house, and it sort of helps you create these 3D diagrams online. And then I know some people use Tinkercad to print out these 3D models and like 3D printing. So it's definitely, there's so much different things that you can do with these different like softwares that are available here. And the last thing that we have on our bramptonrobotics.org/STEM activities page is at-home dissection. So I don't know how many of you are interested in biology or like dissecting frogs. I know especially when you get into high school, there's a lot of dissections that you can do, but these sort of show you like what like the science behind it as well and how you can possibly do this at home, not really with real life animals, but just like what the process looks like. So we'll show you that as well right now to see if any of you may be interested in that as well. So here we have like the virtual dissection. So virtual frog dissection, cat dissection, pig brain. So this is like awesome. I know I did frog dissection in grade 10, I believe. And this sort of like shows you what you would do exactly if you were in a class setting. You can do it at home, like the science behind it. You can click on all these different links, the tutorials, like figure out how to label like the inside parts of a frog. So that's definitely interesting if any of you are interested in biology or sort of like more of like the sciences aspect of STEM. But I believe that wraps up today's event, today's girl-powered event. If anyone has any questions or comments, feel free to reach out to us at any point. We can answer them. If you want to get access to these links or connect with one of our speakers, feel free to reach out to Brampton Robotics. But we hope that like you had a fun time and you were able to learn and feel inspired by today's event and sort of understand that just because you are a girl does not mean that you don't have a future in STEM, or does not mean that you are not able to pursue a career in STEM, because we all understand that girls are so capable, and hopefully through this event you're able to connect with other females that may be interested in STEM, whether you want to join a robotics team at Brampton Robotics, or you want to go and do your own science research in the future, you want to become a doctor or you want to become an engineer. There's definitely some like great ways to stay connected with us. But now we're going to just show you some ways to stay connected with Brampton Robotics. So the best way to stay connected with us is if you visit bramptonrobotics.org, where we have a contact us page where you can send us any of your questions, any comments that you may have from this event. Just like I said, whether if you want to get connected with us, you want to get connected with other people. I know I personally joined robotics when I was going into grade 7, and it was the best decision of my life. It definitely helps you figure out like what you want to do. We're not forcing you to stay in STEM. So if STEM is something that you're not interested in, that is totally cool as well. But we want to make sure that you understand that all these options are open. So once you visit bramptonrobotics.org, you'll come onto this homepage right here, which you can see on my screen. And if you scroll to the side, you can go to the contact us page. And here you can sort of send us an email or book an appointment, but obviously appointments will be happening virtually and with social distancing and COVID restrictions in mind. But you can come and understand what we do at Brampton Robotics, like what these BexIQ and BRC teams are building. And this is definitely a great way to get involved. So feel free to check out our social medias, check out our Instagram page, check out our Twitter page as well to stay connected. But thank you so much, everyone, for being involved in today's event. Barnaby, do you have any last words or any last words of advice that you want to leave everyone with?
Well, I would just hope that some of you guys would join Brampton Robotics, because it would be really cool to see you guys there.
And I hope that you can keep us updated on your journey in STEM, and definitely think about pursuing a career in STEM and reach out and look at all these other resources that are available as well. But thank you so much, everyone. And we hope to see you at future events at Brampton Robotics. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.